In Konoha the opening game plays as Jikuni Yuanichi Chapter 426-450. Chapter 426. Although Kusuo Hatake didn't feel any obvious improvement at this time, the tail behind his body made him know that he was now a Saiyan. The immortal looked at Kusuo Hatake curiously and said slowly, "So this is the symbol of the Saiyan, I can take off this tail. I don't know if you are willing, but it is temporary. If you really want to have no tail, Dragon Ball can do it." Kusuo Hatake looked at the immortal slowly and shook his head and said, "This is not needed. Now, this tail is still useful. I will take it off when I don't need it anymore." However, Kusuo Hatake was a little worried. There was still some time before tomorrow, so what should he do now? He said slowly, "God, can I use this spiritual time house again? I just became a Saiyan, and there are many things that are not integrated well." "Of course, you can use it at will." "Okay." Then he came to the spiritual time house and adapted to his strength in this little time. Then it was luck, which was really a little stronger than before, but even with this little bit, Kusuo Hatake knew that he had surpassed his limit. That was the limit of human beings. As long as you are a human, you will be stuck in that limit. Then he felt his energy slowly and continuously surging out. Kaioken triple, open 4 gates. At this time, the red energy and red light have already covered Kusuo Hatake's whole body. Is this his own energy? Then he checked his combat power, which has reached a terrifying 300,000. With such strength, it can be said that anyone who comes to Frieza can be defeated. But this is still far from enough. The limit of the Saiyans is about 300,000 combat power, and I am far from that level. Although I have the ability to revive and brush bugs to improve combat power, Kusuo Hatake will not do this. It is probably impossible to stimulate the potential of Saiyans when it is not a real life and death game. Then let's do it this way. My own strength is only more than 10,000. There is still a year left. When Vegeta comes, it is very likely that Goku will be able to completely surpass him. With my knowledge, then Vegeta can actually be raised as a companion. My goal is to duel with Frieza in advance, and at that time their combat power may be comparable. Because of my Saiyan status, I may not be able to break through the Saiyan status by myself, because I have no anger and no confidence. I am unwilling to become a Super Saiyan like that. If there is one, he will have a way to control that kind of energy and cultivate to that level. So let's do it now. I took back my energy and came out of the spirit time house. I came to the front of the immortal and said slowly, "Immortal, I'll go first. Let's meet again if we have time in the future. Goodbye." Chapter 427. After leaving here, Kusuo Hatake went to the city first, because he still had to ask Bulma for some things, that is, the combat power detector. Because in the future, he will use the detector to teach Piccolo, Goku and Lunch for a long time. Although they don't know about this, he has to pay attention to it, and because this matter is still very important. And if they don't know the combat power, it will be very difficult to explain the power to them in the future. So where to go first? Then he started the dance to fly to the city. Here, it is still very easy to find the capsule company. Because it is too famous, but Kusuo Hatake didn't expect to see Bulma and others from a distance. Almost all the people are here, and they seem to be discussing something. Kusuo Hatake slowly landed and said, "Yo, it seems that everyone is here, so I am also disturbing." But then, what are you doing here? Goku looked at Kusuo Hatake in the sky and said slowly, "We were going to find you there, but we didn't expect you to come here by yourself." "No, why do you have a tail behind you? Are you also a Saiyan?" Ha ha ha. Seeing Goku grinning, Kusuo Hatake said helplessly, "I made this with Shenlong, you don't need to care." Bulma looked at Kusuo Hatake and said with a smile, "Kusuo Hatake, what are you doing here? Are you looking for me? Are you confused by my beauty? Ha ha ha. But since you are so powerful, you are actually very handsome. If you chase me, you may succeed." Kusuo Hatake was speechless. Bulma is really open-minded. Where is your current boyfriend? What are you doing? Bulma, I don't seem to know you well, and you are seducing me so openly, aren't you afraid? Then Bulma covered her chest with a sinister expression. What are you going to do, really? I just said something. I didn't expect you to be such a person. I saw you staring at me just now, of course I care. 0 Please give me flowers. And didn't you agree with Sun Jun to go to that place, but you came to me directly, don't you have any ideas about me or something? Don't be shy, we are all adults, some things can be said directly. 0. Hitaki Kusuo was directly amused, and now he felt that Bulma was really fun, really open, and really amazing. However, when I thought that he was Vegeta's woman, I felt a little weird. Bulma, you are really good, I came here to find you for something, do you know the machine that sees combat power? Bulma looked at Kusuo Hitaki and seemed to have thought of something, so she took out the machine. You are talking about this, do you know what this thing is? Sun Jun told me that this is a machine that measures combat power. But it has been repaired by me. Do you want to use this? Yes, I think it is useful. She. Chapter 428. Kusuo Hitaki looked at King Kai and said slowly. Yohu, it's King Kai. King Kai was very surprised. No one had come to him for a long time, so he said. Who are you and what are you doing here? Kusuo Hitaki smiled and said, King Kai, I came here to practice, but I only have 1 day, so please guide me. King Kai's eyes almost popped out and said, what do you mean? You stay here for a day and practice with me, do you have a problem with your brain? Hitaki Kusuo was not angry at all, because it was difficult to explain his situation to others. Then he said slowly, I can do this, you can rest assured, I came here to learn King Fist. And Spirit Bomb. King Kai originally thought that the man in front of him was joking, but he could actually tell his own tricks, so he must not be a person without ability. How do you know my ability, but it seems that you have prepared it. Let me see you. Then he used his tentacles as if to collect something, and looked at Xingyu and said slowly. You are from another world, but this thing is still very rare. I haven't seen people from other worlds for a long time. Hitaki Kusuo actually knew that King Kai regarded him as a person from another universe. Then he said slowly, then King Kai can teach me to practice, I don't know the others, but Lord Kai, you are very famous. King Kai looked at Kusuo Hitaki and said slowly, is that so? Am I really famous? Of course, you are a famous person. People in our area know you exist. And your special moves, Spirit Bomb and King Fist, are among the best, so I want to learn. King Kai seemed to like to hear this, so he said slowly, since you have worked so hard to come to this place, I will teach you. But you know, my training is very hard, and I don't know your strength yet. Show me 0. King Hitaki nodded and released his aura directly. It scared King Kai directly. This is, how are you, okay. King Kai was full of embarrassment, because at present, Kusuo Hitaki was stronger than him, but he absolutely could not expose it. Otherwise, he might be looked down upon. Okay, I already know how powerful you are, but since you are already so powerful, why do you still come to me for training? I have nothing to teach you. Are you here specifically to learn my special moves, but you are sensible? I spent a long time researching these 2 tricks of mine. Then as long as you can tell a joke that can make me laugh, I will hand it over to you. Also, it is impossible for you to learn my Spirit Bomb and King Ken in 1 day. I'll tell you first. It was at this time that Hitaki Kusuo laughed. Chapter 429. Although I don't know why I have to tell jokes, in order to learn King Ken, I should still tell a joke to King Kai. Then I slowly said, I am your father. King Kai was stunned for a moment and then looked at Hitaki Kusuo. What, you are? You are my father, no, I am your father, ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha, I am laughing to death, what is it, too funny, I am your father. Ha ha. Hitaki Kusuo was actually quite speechless. He had known that King Kai had a very low sense of humor, and now it seemed that it was even lower. He shook his head helplessly and then slowly said, since I've already told a joke, when are you going to teach me? King Kai's expression also became serious. Since you insist on learning King Kai, then I will teach you. But there is one thing I still want to tell you. You can't learn the Spirit Bomb at all, because this thing can only be learned by people with a sense of justice. But you have to know that there are very few people with a sense of justice in this world now, and even if I used it once when I created it, I never used it again. But its power is indeed very great. Hitaki Kusuo nodded and then said, actually, I know this too. I didn't plan to learn that, I just wanted to know how to learn it. I know that someone can inherit your spirit bomb. King Kai was interested and said, who is he? I really want to know if there is such a person in this world. His name is Son Goku, you can check it out. King Kai moved his tentacles again, not knowing what he was doing. After a while, he said in amazement, I didn't expect that there are such pure-hearted people in this world. I really broadened my horizons. But I really want to meet Son Goku, but it's a pity that he can't come here now. Hitaki Kusuo looked at King Kai. I think so, he must be able to learn the spirit bomb, so if I have time in the future, I will let him come here. But besides the Yellow Springs Road, what other roads can get here? King Kai shook his head and said, I didn't build my home in reality because of the trouble, but now it's really troublesome to meet someone. Then he looked at Hitaki Kusuo and said, then we can start practicing. Then he put his tentacles on Kusuo Hitaki's back and said slowly. In this way, you know how to learn King Fist and Spirit Bomb. But you definitely can't learn it in one day. Even if you are so powerful, you have to comprehend King Fist. Double King Fist. Then red energy appeared on Kusuo Hitaki's body, which means that he has learned King Fist. King Kai almost fell down and said slowly, how did you do it? How is this possible? Chapter 430, how could you learn it like this? What did you do? What do you have? King Kai was sweating profusely. In fact, he had already investigated just now. This person should be from another universe. But there was no information at all, and he had only been here for less than 7 days. He was already so powerful, and he learned how to use the King Fist in less than a short time. This time, he was really shocked. I don't know how to say hello to you now, but the universe is still very big. Although your strength is still very strong, you can't be a match for some people. I have already investigated just now. Your own strength is also very strong, but you can't easily do whatever you want in this universe. After all, you just came to this universe, I still have to remind you of these things, and I don't know whether you have listened to it or not. Hitaki Kusuo smiled and said slowly, thank you for your concern, King Kai, but I know all these things. After all, I also know how strong I am in this world. Let's not talk about Frieza, the androids, and the ancient magic puppet. The next is the god of destruction and the angel. I know all of them. King Kai was shocked. Why did this person know these things? Didn't he just come to this universe? But he changed his mind. Since it is possible to travel through the universe, there must be a god of destruction or an angel. Helped. Since you know all this, I have nothing to say. Since you have already learned the King Fist, you should use it well. Of course. Hitaki Kusuo smiled flatteringly and said, then I understand. Whenever I face an enemy in the future, I will say that my King Fist was taught by King Kai. Of course, don't worry. If I can't beat the opponent, I will definitely not say it. If I beat him, then I will release the King Fist. King Kai was happy when he heard this. You really are, it's good, my King Fist has been passed to you, and it can be regarded as a successor. But remember to give the spirit bomb to Goku, this person is very interesting and must be seen in the future. But King Kai said immediately, since you want to go to the world of the living, how are you going to leave here? You are already a dead person. Hitaki Kusuo smiled. I will show you my ability that even gods are shocked. Immortal reincarnation. Then he saw that Kusuo Hitaki's body had changed. Outer path reincarnation. King Kai was now speechless. What was the origin of this person in front of him? He was actually resurrected. How did you do it? This is not a human ability at all. Hitaki Kusuo smiled and said, then King Kai, we will meet again in the future. Then he jumped onto the snake path, and it was unknown how long it took for Kusuo Hitaki to smile. It seems that this time is still very successful. Chapter 431. It was less than a day before Kusuo Hitaki arrived at the King of Hell. The king of hell looked at Kusuo Hatake with a confused look on his face and said slowly, "Have you given up? This is also normal, but ordinary people can't reach King Kai at all. Then you have decided now." Then he found that there was something wrong with Kusuo Hatake in front of him. Not only did his strength seem to have become stronger, but the most important thing was that he was already a living person. Then he looked at Kusuo Hatake and said, "How did you do it?" It was at this time that the immortal came to his side. Kusuo Hatake thought of the king of hell and smiled and then left here. When he returned to the palace of God, Mr. Bobo was already waiting for him there. When he saw Kusuo Hatake coming back, he said, "Since you are back, you can enjoy the Dragon Balls anytime." The immortal looked at Kusuo Hatake in confusion and said, "Sir, are you really back from Lord Kai? No matter how I look at you, I can't tell that you have become stronger." Kusuo Hatake smiled and said, "Of course, I only learned a few moves when I went there, and my strength is not as good as mine. If you are not good enough, just wait for the promotion with Son Goku. But there are some things I still need to tell you. This Dragon Ball can't change a person's race. It's better to say, can I become like you, that is, a Namekian?" The immortal said solemnly, "Namekian. It was only that time that I knew my life experience. I was not from this world. But the Dragon Ball should be able to do such a thing." In fact, now Hatake Kusuo is still very speechless, and he is not sure whether the Dragon Ball on Earth can have such magic. If not, then he can only use the Dragon Ball of Namek, or the Super Dragon Ball, but how can he get the Super Dragon Ball before he has the strength? This is simply impossible, and then he looked at the immortal. "I want to become a Saiyan, the race of Raditz and Son Goku. They have very strong fighting power, and this is not the most important thing. Humans have limits, but Saiyans don't. If you want to become stronger, this is a good way." The immortal was shocked by what Hatake Kusuo said and said, "I know. Popo, summon the Dragon Ball. Come out, Shenlong." For a moment, a huge dragon appeared on the palace of God. It was obviously a dragon from the Celestial Empire, so majestic and powerful. "I can fulfill one of your wishes. Whatever wish you want to fulfill, any wish can be fulfilled." Popo looked at Hatake Kusuo and said, "Are you sure you want to become a Saiyan?" "Yes." Hatake Kusuo nodded seriously. "Okay, I got it. Shenlong, can you please turn the person next to you into a Saiyan?" Shenlong looked at Kusuo Hatake and said slowly, "This is too simple, your wish has come true, goodbye." Then he turned into stone and scattered all over the world. Chapter 432. Although Kusuo Hatake did not feel any obvious increase in strength at this time, the tail behind his body made Kusuo Hatake know that he is now a Saiyan. The immortal also looked at Kusuo Hatake curiously and said slowly, "It turns out that this is the symbol of the Saiyans. I can take off this tail. I don't know if you are willing, but it is only temporary. If you really want to have no tail at all, Dragon Ball can do it." Hatake Kusuo slowly looked at the immortal and shook his head and said, "This is not necessary. Now, this tail is still useful. I will take it off when I don't need it anymore." But Hatake Kusuo was a little worried. There was still some time before tomorrow, so what should he do now? Then he said slowly, "Immortal, can I use this spiritual time room again? I have just become a Saiyan, and many things are not integrated well at all." "Of course, you can use it at will." "Okay." Then he came to the spiritual time room and used this little time to adapt to his own strength. Then it was luck, which was a little bit stronger than before, but even with this little bit, Hatake Kusuo knew that his limit had been surpassed. That was the limit of human beings. As long as they were human, they would be stuck in that limit. Then he felt his energy slowly and continuously surging out. Kaioken triple, open 4 gates. Quote. At this time, the red energy and red light have already covered Kusuo Hatake's whole body. Is this his own energy? Then he checked his combat power, which has reached a terrifying 300,000. Such strength can be said to be able to defeat anyone who comes to Frieza. But this is still far from enough. The limit of the Saiyans is about 300,000 combat power, and I am far from that point. Although I have the ability to revive and brush bugs to improve combat power, Kusuo Hatake will not do this. It is probably impossible to stimulate the potential of the Saiyans when it is not a real life and death game. 0 Please give flowers. Then let's do it this way. My own strength is only more than 10,000. There is still a year left. When Vegeta comes, it is very likely that Goku will be able to completely surpass him. With my knowledge, Vegeta can actually be raised as a companion. Quote. My goal is to fight Frieza in advance, and their fighting power may be equal at that time. Because of my Saiyan, I may not be able to break through the Saiyan by myself, because I have no anger and no confidence. I am not willing to become a Super Saiyan like that. If there is one, then he will have a way to torture that kind of energy and cultivate to that level. So let's do it now. He took back his energy and came out of the spirit time house, came to the front of the immortal and said slowly. Immortal, I'll go first. Let's meet again if we have time in the future. Goodbye. She. Chapter 433. After leaving here, Kusuo Hatake went to the city first, because he still had to ask Bulma for some things, that is, the combat power detector. Because in the future, he would use the detector to teach Piccolo, Goku and Lunch for a long time. Although they didn't know about this, he had to pay attention to it, and because this matter was still very important. And if they didn't know the combat power of 947, it would be very difficult to explain the power to them in the future. So where to go first? Then he started the flying technique and flew to the city. Here, it was still very easy to find the capsule company. Because it was too famous, Kusuo Hatake didn't expect that he saw Bulma and the others from a distance. Almost all the people were there, and it seemed that they were discussing something. Kusuo Hatake slowly landed and said, Yo, it seems that everyone is here, so I'm sorry to bother you. But what are you doing here? Goku looked at Kusuo Hatake in the sky and said slowly, We were going to that place to find you, but we didn't expect you to come here by yourself. No, why do you have a tail behind you? Are you also a Saiyan? Ha ha ha. Seeing Goku grinning, Kusuo Hatake said helplessly, I made this with Shenlong, you don't need to care. Bulma looked at Kusuo Hatake and said with a smile, Kusuo Hatake, what are you doing here? Are you looking for me? Are you confused by my beauty? Ha ha. But since you are so powerful and handsome, you will probably succeed if you chase me. Kusuo Hatake was speechless. Bulma is really open-minded. Where is your current boyfriend? What are you doing? Bulma, I don't seem to know you well, and you are seducing me so openly, aren't you afraid? Then Bulma covered her chest with a sinister expression. What on earth are you going to do, really? I just said it, I didn't expect you to be such a person, I saw you staring at me just now, of course I care zero. And didn't you agree with Sun Jun to go to that place, but you came directly to me, you have some feelings for me or something. Don't be shy, we are all adults, some things can be said directly. Hatake Kusuo was amused, and now he felt that Bulma was really fun, really open, and really amazing. But when I thought about her being Vegeta's woman, why did it feel a little weird? Bulma, you are really good, I came here to find you for something, do you know the machine that checks the combat power? Bulma looked at Hatake Kusuo and seemed to have thought of something, so she took out the machine. You are talking about this, do you know what this thing is? Sun Jun told me that this is a machine that measures combat power. But it has been repaired by me. Do you want to use it? Yes, I think it is useful. Chapter 434. Hatake Kusuo looked at Bulma and didn't know if Bulma understood what he meant, and then he said slowly. I said I want this detector for Goku and others, not for myself. I don't need this thing myself. Now I just want to ask if you have repaired this thing. I remember that this thing was broken during the battle. At this time, Bulma showed a disdainful expression and then said slowly. As for this thing, I can repair it in one go, 06, but you are the first person to question my ability. I am very unhappy now. Hatake Kusuo knew that Bulma could easily repair it, but it was just a formality. However, I didn't expect to anger Bulma like this. Although Bulma has a bad temper, other people know that Bulma is still a good person. It's just that she is too trendy, and many people can't keep up with Bulma's thinking. Hitaki Kusuo smiled and said, I didn't think you couldn't fix it. This thing is nothing to the genius Bulma. But is your performance really the same as before? Because this is really important to me, you know it. I will tell you about the combat effectiveness of the two people in the past year. Bulma, since you have already fixed this thing, you can take a look at Goku's combat effectiveness first. Bulma looked at Hitaki Kusuo's serious expression and said slowly, I know. Then she took out the detector and looked at herself. My combat power is only 3, how can I be so weak? Krillin, let me see how much combat power you have. Krillin smiled and looked at Xingyu and said slowly, I am still too weak, I don't have much combat power at all. Look at me. Wow, a full 100. Hitaki Kusuo smiled. It is okay for an Earthling to reach 100, but Hitaki Kusuo knew that if Krillin went to Namek, he could reach more than 10,000 combat power. However, because of his own reasons, he probably couldn't reach that point, because they didn't practice at all, so their combat power couldn't grow too much. Okay, that's it, look at Sun Wukong's combat power, he should be the highest among you. Bulma then pointed the instrument at Wukong. Ah, there are 400. It was at this time that Sun Wukong's expression began to become serious and he said, Kusuo Hitaki, just say what you want to say. Is the enemy's combat power very strong? Kusuo Hitaki nodded and said, of course, even Raditz has a combat power of 1,500. Then you can imagine the combat power of the next two people. Since everyone is here, I'll finish what I'm going to say. Originally, it's better for other people not to know these things. But we are all friends, so it doesn't matter even if you know it. It was at this time that Kusuo Hitaki looked at the sky. Chapter 435. Pico, since you are here, then come down. This matter is still very important. It would be best if I can finish it all at once. Everyone looked up at the sky in confusion and saw Piccolo looking at them and then saw that they had been exposed. He slowly came down and looked at everyone and said, I didn't expect you to prepare them mentally right here. However, how can such an occasion be without me? Everyone is very afraid of Piccolo now. After all, he was the former great demon king Piccolo, the demon king of their world, so it is normal to be afraid of him. Hitaki Kusuo didn't think too much and said immediately. If everyone is here, then I should talk about my plan. My time is good. Within a year, you all have your own missions. Goku, Piccolo and Lunch, you are all my key training targets diaresis. You three are also the hope of saving the entire Earth, but you must be asking, what is my real strength? Then let's not look at the whole thing first, I will tell you about the strength of the two enemies in a year. Goku looked at Hitaki Kusuo and said slowly, now, my combat power is 400, and Piccolo should be higher than me. After all, there are new tricks, but how much can we improve in a year, I don't know at all. Hitaki Kusuo smiled and said, you don't have to worry about the whole thing, because I am confident that you can reach that level. The two aliens 1 year later are also Saiyans, just like you and your brother, and they are also human like me. Saiyans are a famous fighting nation in the universe. They have been fighting since they were born. And they are basically cold-blooded and ruthless. As for Sun Jun, you are very rare, probably just like your brother. Sun Wukong nodded. Yes, I can feel their brutality, but I am the Earthling Sun Wukong, not the Saiyan Kakarot. Hitaki Kusuo nodded. I know this. You are of course the Earthling Sun Wukong, but you have Saiyan blood in you. That's why you are getting stronger and stronger. Of course Piccolo is not inferior to you, that's why you are so strong. Everyone nodded. Now after listening to what Hitaki Kusuo said, they finally understood why Sun Wukong was so strong, and why Piccolo was so strong. It turned out that they were not Earthlings at all. And the two Saiyans are named Naha, a tall Saiyan with a combat power of 5,000. When this number was said, Piccolo's face turned green, and then, Noma Jiao, Sun Wukong also nodded. If that's the case, then it seems that no matter how hard we try, we can't reach that level. I didn't expect that there would be such a strong enemy. Everyone also took a breath. If the combat power is 5,000, how could they be opponents? But Goku didn't notice this, and then he said, then what is the strength of the other Saiyan? Chapter 436. Hitaki Kusuo looked at everyone. It doesn't matter if you want to know now. The name of the Saiyan is Vegeta, the prince of your Saiyan planet. At this time, Piccolo already knew that the Saiyan prince was the most powerful one. Hitaki Kusuo, tell me. I can accept any result. Although some things are not what we thought, we still have to accept them because if we don't accept them, we can only wait for death. Hitaki Kusuo, I know you are very powerful, but since you are helping us practice and are unwilling to defeat them, there must be a reason, right? Hitaki Kusuo sighed and said, if I solve all these problems, how can you become stronger? This is actually a cruel thing. But you don't have to doubt me. I have an ability that the stronger you are, the stronger I will become. Of course, I won't absorb your power. I can't explain this to you clearly. Master Kame also said solemnly, then what is the strength of Vegeta's Saiyan Prince? Hitaki Kusuo said slowly, 18,000. Everyone looked at Hitaki Kusuo in surprise. It's impossible. That kind of person is a monster. With 18,000, can they easily destroy our Earth? How is it possible? We still have some hope for the 5,000 in front, but how can we deal with 18,000? Hitaki Kusuo smiled and said, in fact, it's not that difficult to improve combat effectiveness. Don't be afraid. With me here, Sun Jun, Piccolo and Lunch can reach that level. Everyone was relieved. Piccolo said proudly, I can reach that level myself, but since you want to teach me, I have no other choice. Hitaki Kusuo ignored Piccolo. Someone said, so, we also need your cooperation. If the three of them are practicing, you can't be idle. Of course, do you think I don't have the qualifications? Bulma, look at my combat effectiveness. Then he burst out with anger. How can this energy be so strong? How can this be possible? Everyone couldn't stand still under this pressure. Bulma also said hoarsely, combat power, 10,000. What? It turns out that Hitaki Kusuo is so strong, then we still have hope. But, the combat power of that prince is 18,000. Although it seems that the difference is not big, if they fight, the prince will definitely be stronger. Krillin said in a low voice. Hitaki Kusuo knew that Krillin had this problem since he was a child. But he was telling the truth. Although it was not pleasant to hear, it was indeed a salute. So, Hitaki Kusuo did not refute Krillin. Bulma, look at me and don't be scared. 3 times the Kaioken. Bulma looked at Hitaki Kusuo's fighting power and said happily, everyone, we are saved. I really didn't expect it. Chapter 437. Everyone, you must not know how powerful Hitaki Kusuo is now. As long as he is willing to take action, he can definitely beat that god in front of Vegeta so hard that his mother won't recognize him. Everyone was also stunned. Although they knew that the current Kusuo Hitaki's chi was very strong, they really didn't know how strong Kusuo Hitaki was. Then he said, Bulma, how much is your combat power? Tell us, is it more than Vegeta? Bulma looked at Krillin and said to them slyly. Kusuo Hitaki has a combat power of 30,000. This is the prince who surpassed Vegeta. We don't have to be afraid this time. Everyone seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. Then Kusuo Hitaki also took away his chi and said, my real combat power is about 300,000. As soon as this number came out, the others were shocked. What was going on? 300,000, this was not something they could imagine at their current level. Bulma slowly took off her instrument and said, is this instrument room broken? But the others are also very normal. Hitaki Kusuo shook his head and said, the instrument is good. If I show all my fighting power, your instrument will report. This instrument can measure up to 150,000, which means that as long as your fighting power reaches this number on that day, you are one of the strongest in the universe. Bulma looked at Yinsha and said, really, I don't like you now, Yinsha, I now announce that we are breaking up. Everyone looked at Bulma in confusion, not knowing what Bulma was going to do. Bulma, what are you going to do? I didn't do anything wrong, how can you treat me like this? The two people quarreled immediately, but others were not surprised. Because these two people were like this, but this time Bulma seemed to have such an idea. You don't know how fickle you are because I don't know, do you think I don't know? Zero, please give me flowers, I know, I have been enduring you for a long time. Next, I will go after Kusuo Hitaki. Everyone took a deep breath and didn't know what they were going to do. Bulma, are you really going to get rid of Yinsha? He is so pitiful. I really didn't expect you to think like this. 0 inches. Although I don't know what happened, I do know that Kusuo Hitaki has helped us so much for free. Now we are of course partners. Ha ha ha. Krillin also tried his best to smooth things over and said, ha ha ha, we are all friends, how can we be like this? It's so bad. Hitaki Kusuo smiled. He said silently in his heart. Friend, you are wrong, Krillin. I have no friends in this world. Although you are all very good people, I do know that you are just a group of tools. I don't care what the process is. My goal is to become the strongest in this world. I don't care about other things. Chapter 438. Of course, they don't know these things at all. Bulma hugged Hitaki Kusuo's arm and said, Hitaki Kusuo, look, if you are my boyfriend, then you can have everything you want. Also, you are so strong, in the future, I will feel safe by your side. Also, I really want to get married. You see, I went to find Goku when he was 950 years old. Now he is married, but I haven't. It's really irritating. Hitaki Kusuo smiled. In fact, Bulma is also quite interesting. This is the current situation. Why doesn't he feel anything in his heart when facing Bulma's pursuit? It's really quite strange. Okay, I know what you said. Next, I will go to study with Piccolo and Son Goku. Bulma, after that, I tell you, you have to go to the immortal as soon as possible and let him tell you about the strange house he used to live in. That is actually and we may have to go to Piccolo's hometown to deal with someone later. Of course, that person is not someone we can resist now. Pico became interested when he heard this and said, since you are going to my hometown, then I will definitely go back. It's just that I don't know the enemy that Hitaki Kusuo said. How powerful is he? Is he more powerful than Hitaki Kusuo? Hitaki Kusuo nodded, and then said, he is very powerful, and it must be Sun Wukong who defeats him. In this way, Wukong's strength can reach a terrifying level. From that moment on, of course, the improvement of all your strength is related to me, and I will also find a way to make your strength more refined. After all, the stronger you warriors are, the better, right? Of course, as long as you have strong strength, you don't have to be so nervous even if you meet any enemy. Then that's good, I think so, but you still can't forget one thing. That's the spaceship, and Krillin and other Earthling friends, if you want to become stronger, I can send you to a place 0. Of course, first go to the gods, and then go to King Kai. If you practice my method, you will definitely not be able to bear it. Of course, there are some things that you have to do. Although there are people clearing obstacles for you, you still have to become stronger yourself. Everyone nodded and said nothing, because what Hitaki Kusuo said was too correct. It is true that only when you become stronger yourself can you be respected by others, and you will have no worries. Hitaki Kusuo said with a smile, since I have talked so much with you recently. Then let you learn more. Everyone was confused. Didn't they finish talking? Why is there still something else? Hitaki Kusuo looked at Sun Wukong and said, I will tell you about this kind of thing later, but you have to remember that our last and first stage is to defeat the person in Piccolo's hometown. Chapter 439. As for his combat power, you are good. He is a member of the Frozen Demon clan. The combat power is about 530,000. Pico almost spit out water, because at this stage they have already seen the strength of Kusuo Hitaki, who has a combat power of about 10,000. That is a very terrifying strength, but even that kind of chi is only 10,000, and that demon clan has a combat power of 530,000. Pico's mouth is wide open. If it is that kind of enemy, can we defeat it in the future? 06. Kusuo Hitaki smiled and then said, of course, you can definitely beat it under my training, but he is not as simple as ignoring 30,000. His name is Frieza, the emperor of this universe, that is, in this world, in addition to gods and demons handed down from ancient times. Then she is the most powerful. Because Goku is not smart, he can't figure out what's going on. Then are there gods in this world? Of course there are. Earth has its own gods, and other planets also have gods in general. But such gods can only be regarded as minor gods, and above them is Lord Kai. Piccolo should know this. Piccolo looked at Kusuo Hatake and said slowly, because I also have the memory of the gods, so I know King Kai. The one who commands the gods of this planet is called King Kai. Everyone understood that Kusuo Hatake just now mentioned gods and King Kai, which means that Kusuo Hatake has already met King Kai. Then he said, then is the King Kai that Kusuo Hatake just mentioned this King Kai. It is this King Kai. I went to see the gods and King Kai in those few days. As long as you have the assistance of these two, your strength can definitely reach about 5,000 Dao and 10,000, but it may be very hard. Of course, this is also the result of your hard work. Everyone understood why they had to go to King Kai, because their strength could be improved very quickly. Drinking tea, Krillin and other people were all very excited. There was nothing more exciting for them than getting stronger. Master Kame smiled and said, if you can really do it, then the world will belong to you young people. I am so old now, so I won't get involved in your affairs. I hope you can work harder and come back soon after you finish your studies. Of course, if you can't hold on, you can come back. Of course, we can't laugh at you. Everyone has their own rights. It was at this time that Kusuo Hatake realized that Kame Sennin was indeed a great master. Although he was a little bit lustful, he had no other shortcomings except this. But why Kame Sennin didn't get married was actually the question that Kusuo Hatake wanted to know the most. However, some things were simply unspeakable. Kusuo Hatake didn't mention this matter again. Chapter 440. Everyone believed Kusuo Hatake at this moment, because he would not lie to them. So strong it would be easy for a big person to kill them, so there is no need to deceive them. So Sun Wukong said slowly, I have a feeling that I can become extremely powerful under the leadership of Hatake Kusuo, although I don't know why Hatake Kusuo wants to help us. But we don't need to know these things now, because there is no need at all. Next, I will practice well under the hands of Hatake Kusuo. Although I don't know why you also grew a tail, you are still my kind. In this way, maybe we can find our limits. Hatake Kusuo nodded and said, this is what I plan to do. Wukong Piccolo, you two are here now, I will send Krillin and the others to the gods to practice. Wukong said happily, Hatake Kusuo Mu, are you really going to send them to the gods to practice? That would be great. The gods taught me a lot. I learned a lot of tricks from the gods. As for King Kai, I really want to see him. After all, he is the boss of the gods, so I know. These people must be very powerful. If Krillin and the others can practice there, they will definitely become very powerful. Kusuo Hatake nodded and then said slowly, this is true. We all know that there are some things we can't control at all. King Kai, he actually wants to see you too. If we are on the way to practice, I will take you to see King Kai. Sun Wukong smiled and said nothing. Kusuo Hatake looked at Bulma and said slowly, please try to repair the spaceship. We may need it soon. I will ask Mr. Popo to take you to find the thing. I know that the technology of the Earthlings cannot reach the level of space flight. But with God's spaceship, we can definitely do it. Of course, there is one more thing. Kusuo Hatake looked at Bulma with a smile, and a malicious smile appeared in his eyes. You, what are you going to do? Do you think I will be afraid of you, ha ha ha. What are you thinking about? Do you really have any ideas about me? Then this is too good. But I am doubting one thing now. Are you really interested in me or are you just pretending to be interested in me? I really want to know. Although Kusuo Hatake knew that Bulma had such a temper, he still liked her. The more frivolous she looked, the more she needed attention, but Kusuo Hatake didn't have time to think about it now. Then he said, since you want to pursue me, it's very simple, he. We'll meet again if we're destined to. Then he looked at everyone and said, then Krillin, Yincha, Tianjingfan, Jiaozi, you four, I'll send you to the gods. Okay, let's go. Krillin looked at Goku and said slowly, although I don't know why. Chapter 441 Goku, I know that Hatake Kusuo is a good man. You will definitely become stronger under his hands. But I don't want to drag you down. Although it's impossible to become as strong as you, I still want to become stronger. This is my dream and my wish. I don't know how you usually see me, but I really don't want to drag you down again. Really, even if it's just once, this time that Saiyan Prince is here, I know you can definitely defeat him with your strength, and I believe in you. But I want to protect the Earth with our own strength, because we are the Earth. Goku, I must have become very powerful and make you look eye-catching. Then he said slowly. I know, Klin, then you must be stronger, which surprised me. Tianjing rice, dumplings, tea drinking, you must be more powerful. In this way, I sent them to God's palace first. You just wait for me now. It was just a summoned nine-tail. There is only chi, so everything he uses will be assimilated by chi, which is actually a good thing. This time, Kusuo Hatake is preparing to assimilate all the chakra of the nine tails into chi, so that his strength can be broken through again. Besides, due to the limitations of the power of the Earthlings, they are likely to go to the outer sky for training in the near future, so that the strength of Goku, Piccolo and others can become stronger again. As long as he has the energy of the entire nine-tailed fox, he can become even more powerful. This time, because he had to teleport 4 people at once, he summoned the nine-tailed fox. Everyone sighed as they looked at the nine-tailed fox behind Kusuo Hatake, and then slowly said, Kusuo Hatake is indeed powerful, and that fox monster is simply an outrageously powerful creature. Then Kusuo Hatake finished his seal and said, Okay, we can go. A ray of light enveloped the 4 people and disappeared in a flash. Piccolo said slowly, this person is really powerful, with abilities that we have never seen before, but it is also. Since the universe is so vast, there must be those powerful and strange people. It is strange that they have never seen anything. Son, it seems that we will be together for a long time. Ah, I know, then let me be your opponent next time ha 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 ha. God knows everything here, so he is also clear. Chapter 442. Next, Kusuo Hatake sent the elites of the earth. As for these people, they still have to be trained well, because even if the crisis of the earth does not need to be considered, there is that day. If Kusuo Hatake is not here, then if they do not have more powerful warriors, then will the earth be destroyed again. The gods have also considered this matter, so what Kusuo Hatake said is the best, so that everyone can become stronger together. Then as long as these people exist, the safety of the earth is guaranteed. Then he slowly said to Popo, it seems that the 2 of us will be busy for a while, but I am also very happy. Although Piccolo indirectly revealed that he still wants to occupy the earth, he is different from his father. He still has a little kindness, although I don't know where this kindness comes from. It is very likely that some accidents occurred when Piccolo split, which led to the emergence of such a strange person as Piccolo. But this is of great benefit to me. Although Piccolo was defeated by Goku, there are still some things that I have to do personally. After all, Piccolo is me, and I am Piccolo. We are actually a community. Bobo nodded and then said slowly, God, you don't have to blame yourself too much. We all know it. That thing is not your fault at all. The only thing wrong is that I don't know what to say. But I know you are a good God. I don't want you to not cherish your own body. I will not agree with this. The god smiled. It was at this time that Kusuo Hatake and others teleported over. Krillin looked around and said in surprise, really, it's true. We have come to the palace of the gods, but why do the gods and Piccolo look exactly the same? Yincha also said slowly, it's true, but I can't feel that kind of evil murderous aura. We finally saw the gods. Yohu gods, I'm here again. Maybe you already know what I'm here for. This matter is actually very important, and Wukong and I will leave the earth in a while. Although their talents are not as high as Wukong's. Zero please flowers, but you also know that it is not easy for earthlings to reach this level, so I'll trouble you in the future. The gods nodded slowly and then said, I know about this matter, you just lead Wukong to practice well. 0 inches leave the things here to me. And I will let them go to the spiritual time house, you can rest assured, and I will ensure their safety, so you go quickly, sir. Don't waste time. Seeing that the gods all call Kusuo Hatake, Master, it is easy to imagine how powerful Kusuo Hatake is. Now that Kusuo Hatake has absorbed the energy of a nine tails, his strength has reached a terrifying level. But these people don't know. Okay, I know gods, after a while, I will ask you to help them go to King Kai, and I will revive them, you don't have to worry about it. She. Chapter 443. I don't know how to tell you about Dragon Ball. But he can't use it too much, otherwise terrible things will happen, although I now know how to explain this to you. But if you use Dragon Ball too much, then bad things will definitely happen, just remember this. It was the first time that the immortal heard of this, but there was no need for Kusuo Hatake to lie to him, so he said slowly. I know, I will definitely use less Dragon Balls in the future, so I'll leave Goku and the others to you. Okay. Krillin saw that Kusuo Hatake was about to leave, so he said slowly, although I don't know why you want to help me. I know you may not like me, but I still want to say something, thank you. Kusuo Hatake raised his eyebrows, and only then did he understand one thing. Krillin is really a good friend, and then he said slowly, I don't look down on you, but I have an inevitable responsibility, and I also want to become stronger quickly. And I don't look down on you, you know, I don't think so at all. So, you just need to practice well here, and leave the rest to me. Although I don't know how you see me, I treat you as friends. Kusuo Hatake didn't say anything more, because there was no need to say more, and then he said. Then I look forward to meeting you next time, and I hope you will become very powerful. How about letting me look at you with new eyes? Ah, definitely. You are the same, Tenjohan. You beat Goku at that time. Although it was a coincidence, you are also the first person to beat Goku under Master Roshi. You have to cheer up too. Tenjohan looked at Hatake Kusuo and cheered for him, and then said with a smile, I know, I can definitely surpass that guy, but the possibility is estimated to be small. Then everyone, I'm leaving first 0. Then everyone saw Hatake Kusuo disappear on the spot, and they felt mixed emotions in their hearts but didn't know what to say. They looked at the gods and said respectfully, God, we want to become stronger, please teach us to become stronger. I know. Hatake Kusuo left the palace of God and flew back quickly. There, Goku, Piccolo, Son Gohan and Bulma Master Roshi were all there. Hatake Kusuo said slowly, I'm back, but I remembered something I forgot to tell you. What is it, Hatake Kusuo? Just tell me. Sun Wukong seems to trust Hatake Kusuo very much now. Bulma looked at Hatake Kusuo and came back to put her hand on him and said slowly, I must chase you. You are so strong. I will follow you in the future. Hee. Hatake Kusuo was speechless. Why did Bulma come again? But he couldn't refuse. Bulma's words were still a headache. He could only bow his hand and say slowly. Chapter 444. Wait until we finish practicing, you will know one thing, I am not the one suitable for you. Of course, what I said is true. You may not know that I now know who your boyfriend is. It is impossible for me to tell you now, but he is really strong and very good to you. You can rest assured about this. Bulma had no idea what Kusuo Hatake was talking about, and then she slowly said, I know, it's so hard to understand if you disagree. Really, I'm leaving, there's no point here. Bulma, I'll leave that matter to you, I really leave it to you. Okay, I know, just wait for my good news, hee. Then he flew away in a strange machine. Looking at Bulma leaving, Kusuo Hatake slowly shook his head. Then he looked at Piccolo and the others. Sun Wukong, I have something else to tell you, and it's very important. Piccolo looked at Kusuo Hatake without saying anything, then turned around and flew to the opposite mountain. It seems that Piccolo is quite sensible, Kusuo Hatake secretly admired him. But he remembered one thing, that is, Piccolo's hearing is very good, which means that Piccolo will hear everything he says next. In this case, there is nothing he can do. Then he slowly said to Sun Wukong, Sun Jun. Wukong scratched his head and didn't know what Kusuo Hatake was going to say. For this matter, you still have to decide, because since I'm here, there is no shortage of this person, but he is a great help to you. Sun Wukong saw that Kusuo Hatake's expression began to become serious, and then he also said seriously. Are you talking about Son Gohan? I know that if he is willing to practice, he will definitely be a very powerful existence in the future. It's just that Chi-Chi only wants him to study, and I can't do anything about it. And if I have lunch, I seem to want to study. Then he touched Son Gohan's head and said slowly, lunch, what are you going to do in the future? Tell me about your dream. I want to study. I don't want to fight. Fighting is really scary. At this time, Hitaki Kusuo also shook his head. If he had lunch, his ability would be able to quickly reach Super Saiyan 2, but without lunch, although he could also reach it. But it might take a little longer, but he really didn't have time. There were only 3 years. If he didn't reach the strongest in this world, then something will happen. Then he said unwillingly, Son Gohan, I am a good person, you know that too. I know you are a good person, you saved my father, you are a good person. Then you have to listen to me, so let's do this, I will give you 5 days off, and then I will come to pick you up to practice every Saturday and Sunday. You can practice and study at the same time, and you must convince your mother, because this matter is really important. And Chapter 445. Although Hitaki Kusuo tried his best to speak, Lunch ignored him and grabbed his mother's hand. At this time, Hitaki Kusuo had no choice. It was impossible to say that without you, it would take me longer to become stronger. Then he looked at Piccolo and said slowly, Piccolo, I know you are clear about this matter, then this kid has power that we can't imagine. So, please use other means. Piccolo looked at Son Gohan with great interest and said slowly, I know, leave this brat to me. Son, do you have any opinions about Son Gohan's training? I don't have any opinions, I also want him to practice early, but if he doesn't want to, I can't do anything. But, since it's Piccolo who wants to say this, I don't have any problem with it. I believe you very much. Very good. Piccolo came in front of Son Gohan and said slowly, Stinky brat, listen to me carefully, you must be a warrior. I don't care what you have, but this training is necessary. If you don't agree, then I will kill you. He was shivering under the lunch, and he was about to cry, and then he looked at his father, but Son Goku deliberately didn't look at him. Son Gohan's tears rolled in his eye sockets, but he couldn't come out, and then he slowly said, I know. I know, Woo 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 woo. He started crying, and Hitaki Kusuo was speechless. It seems that only Piccolo can call for lunch properly. He and Son Goku were both good-tempered people. Piccolo was a demon king after all, so he was better at scaring children than himself. Hitaki Kusuo was very satisfied with the results and said slowly, I know about this matter, you should go back and solve it first. Today is the first day, so you have to come for lunch, because I have a lot to say, but these things can only be known by you, because you want to become stronger. Then you must know the way to become stronger, and this is very important, which is our first day of training. I hope you can all come. He was not suitable for training them because of it. Sun Wuhan went back and said clearly to your mother. In this way, you are going to my house. Nuo Li is good, I let Chi-Chi make a lot of delicious food. Time. Then I nodded. I listened to the words of Chi Mu Nanshangjun, son, we are gone. Chapter 446. At this time, Kimu Nanshong had already clearly knew something, that is, should I go to the house of Sun Wukong? The most powerful person in the universe was actually afraid of an ordinary earthling in the end, which actually illustrates a problem. That is, Goku is really a kind person, but Kusuo Hitaki knows that Chi-Chi has a bad temper. If I go there, will there be any unexpected situation? Kusuo Hitaki doesn't want to become disabled now, because he is the one who lets his son practice. It has long been clear that Chi-Chi will definitely oppose it with all her strength. Then he slowly said, before that, I have to do something. You go to Chi-Chi's house first, I will come over in a while. You wait for me at home for lunch. I will definitely convince Chi-Chi. Everyone was confused and didn't know what Kusuo Hitaki was thinking at all. Then he slowly said, now that we know, you have to believe it. Do you know my home? If not, Hitaki Kusuo shook his head and said, I can sense your aura now, and we are the only ones with high combat power on this earth. If I sense it casually, I can sense it. You don't have to worry too much about this matter. If you know what I did, you can also not very good. He left in a flash, leaving Sun Wukong and Piccolo at a loss. Sun Wukong looked at Piccolo and said, Pico, then you go first. I believe that Hitaki Kusuo is really in trouble. Let's go to my house first. In fact, Piccolo has no interest in going to Sun Wukong's house. He just wants to become stronger now. He is here because of Hitaki Kusuo. But Hitaki Kusuo is not going now, which makes Piccolo very embarrassed. Then he slowly said, then it's your turn. If Hitaki Kusuo doesn't come, I won't go into the house. I'll just wait outside. As a result, the three of them arrived at Sun Wukong's house in a short while. Sun Wukong said slowly, are you really not going in to take a look? Why are you waiting for Hitaki Kusuo? Really? Pico shook his head and appeared on a mountain opposite to Sun Wukong's house. Sun Wukong saw that Piccolo really didn't want to go with him, so he returned home. Hitaki Kusuo knew one thing early on, that is, Chi-Chi would definitely not agree to practice with him during lunch. So what does Chi-Chi need most now? It must be money, and this matter cannot be known to others. Of course, he didn't have much money. Then he took out a hood from somewhere and put it on himself. When he came to the bank, he shouted, bank robbery, you guys kneel down for me. But before he finished speaking, he was kicked in the face by a woman. I am really unlucky today. I can encounter bank robbery even if I marry someone with money. It's really weird. Quote. Chapter 447. And next time you rob a bank, can you call a few more people, friends, can you rob it? Do you look down on me? Hitaki Kusuo himself was not on guard, and his body was in a relaxed state. Just when he was about to see which bastard hit him, he saw Bulma. Then he felt that something bad was going to happen. Looking at the people looking at him, he was not very scared, and it seemed that there were a few people laughing at him. Ha ha ha, look at that person, coming to rob a bank, it's really funny, he came to rob a bank alone, either a psychopath or a novice. It's really funny, and he's robbing a bank here. Boy, is that you who want to rob a bank? Hitaki Kusuo turned his head and saw a big man several meters tall looking at him with a genuine smile. At this time, Hitaki Kusuo realized one thing, that is, he was underestimated, but he could not accept it. How could he be laughed at by a group of people like this, but Bulma was also here, so he couldn't do anything. Hitaki Kusuo himself was not short, and now this giant seemed to see Hitaki Kusuo's uneasy expression and smiled again. Since you came here to rob the bank, then I will also put an end to you. The bank is not such a strong boy. But, I admire your courage. You dare to come here alone, which is actually very powerful. But, you really forgot that this bank has a strong man like me. Are you scared? Ha ha ha, as long as you kowtow to me to apologize, then I will definitely not beat you, and let the police take you away directly. How about it? Hitaki Kusuo smiled and blew a breath and said slowly, you dare to challenge me here, I am really curious, who gave you the courage? However, since you have successfully angered me, I will let you know what power is. He blew a breath, and the giant felt a strong force appearing on his body. For a moment, he could not stand firm and flew out. Please give flowers. At this time, everyone realized the strength of the man in front of them, and Bulma was also panicked and said, my lord, I don't mean to hit you, don't kill me, I know a very powerful person, you can't save my life like this. Then he squatted down and trembled. Bulma had seen the world after all. This man could make the fat man fly away with a breath. He was not an ordinary person. I have seen countless people in all kinds of monsters, but I have never seen such a thin and small person. However, why do I feel that I have seen this person? Then he said slowly. Sir, do you know me? Why do I feel that your voice and body shape are very similar to someone I know? Hitaki Kusuo was speechless. Are you dreaming to say that I know you here? When I am exposed, how can you run? Are you really brainless? But here I can't remind you of anything. She. Chapter 448. Then he said fiercely, you really dare come on, how could I possibly know you, you little girl? You dare to talk to me like this when your hair hasn't even grown out yet, I must teach you a lesson. Then he went in without even looking at the others, took the money and left. When he left, He looked at Bulma again, and then he didn't say anything, and directly carried Bulma away like a kitten. Bulma was scared, but she knew that if she resisted, she would die or it would be even more miserable, so she smiled slowly and said, "You are really, I don't know what to say. I just married someone for money and was kidnapped, my fate is so bitter. Let me go, I know Sun Wukong. You know, he is the champion of the world's first martial arts competition, he is very powerful. One of you can beat 100 of you, if you want to fight, go and fight him, I know. Bulma's eyes turned and she said again, I know you don't dare to fight with Sun Wukong at all. You can't beat him at all. I know it now. But, you are really pitiful. Since you can't beat him, then you should let me go quickly. I will definitely not let him come to you. Are you scared or something? Why don't you speak? Hitaki Kusuo was speechless. This Bulma is really such an active person. But now he can confess to Bulma. Because Hitaki Kusuo has been flying for a long time and has come to a deserted place. Bulma is getting more and more scared and said, what are you going to do? You are not going to play with me and then kill me. You can't do this. Although I am resurrected, I still don't want to die. I really don't want to die. I really don't know what to do. Goku, save me, Goku, save me. Hitaki Kusuo really wanted to beat Bulma up now. She was really annoying. He had never seen such an annoying person. But there was nothing he could do. This matter was not under his control at all. 0. Then he said slowly, you are really noisy. If you say another word, I will throw you down. Bulma didn't dare to say another word. This was a very high altitude. If she was thrown down from here, she would really have no nickname. After flying for a while, she saw Goku's home. That was a distance from Goku's home. Hitaki Kusuo slowly fell down and threw Bulma down like a kitten. Then he said, you are really a stupid woman. I am the one you want to chase. The most handsome and super powerful Hitaki Kusuo. How is it? Surprise or not? Then he took off his hood and slowly said to Bulma. Bulma saw that it was Kusuo Hitaki and said in a daze, you, what's wrong with you, why did you rob a bank, it really gave me a shock. And are you really short of money? If you are short of money, tell me and I will give it to you. Chapter 449. But Kusuo Hitaki, you are really strange. How can you be so powerful without money? Although I know that robbing a bank is not good, I will not call the police. After all, you saved the world. If you don't have this little money, will you go berserk or something? Anyway, I don't have any money. Bulma said very strangely, how can you know that I haven't been to Sun Jun's house? Did you start to have a crush on me from that time and have been observing me all the time? But you feel that you are not worthy of me, so you work hard to become stronger, and then get close to me, and then play hard to get, right? Ha ha ha, I already know that you are here to chase me. Come on, hee hee. Hitaki Kusuo was really convinced. Is there a hole in this woman's brain? Then he slowly said, how is your spaceship? This matter is actually something that Seiki Kusuo cares about. On Earth, Hitaki Kusuo has already planned to stay for a maximum of 3 months, and then leave here to experience. But he thought of something. This matter can actually be faster. As for Vegeta, they can intercept in the air. After all, they can reach that place in 17 days. You are talking about the spaceship. I took a look and found that the spaceship is indeed not a technology that humans should have, but we can modify it. Of course, I can still make it fly faster, but that thing requires my father to help. However, my father can help Sun Wukong. After all, they have known each other for a long time. But you are not my friend now, nor am I or anything. How can I ask my father to help you? It's really annoying. Of course, this is all nonsense from Bulma. In fact, her father is also actively researching the spaceship. They are people in the scientific community. They all like such high-tech products very much. Of course, it is impossible to let go of such high-tech products. They have been transformed early. But Xingyu is not clear, and he still thinks because this is true. He then smiled at Bulma and said, you are not telling the truth, right? Then this is really troublesome. It seems that when the Saiyan comes, the first thing he wants to do is to kill you, really. I would not have saved you if I had known earlier, but although you can save yourself in that case, but I don't care, it's really annoying. Now I am your boyfriend, you can do it yourself. Really. Bulma then smiled at Kusuo Hitaki and pulled Kusuo Hitaki's arm and said, "You should have agreed earlier, and you went to rob the bank. My money will be your money in the future, hee. Then we will do it this way, but isn't this speed too fast?" Kusuo Hitaki looked at Bulma and didn't know what to say for a while. "Okay, if that's the case, let's go to Goku's house first. This is business, and after this matter is dealt with, let's go to your house, I'll meet your parents, and then I'll go see your spaceship, this is still very important." Of course, meeting your parents is the most important, hee. Chapter 450. Hitaki Kusuo felt that he was being tricked, but he couldn't tell what it felt like, and then he slowly said, "If that's the case, then I understand. Your purpose it's me, you're really awesome, but you won't lose out if I become your boyfriend. Since you're already my girlfriend, I'll tell you something. I plan to be the most powerful person in the world, how do you feel about it? Is it very challenging? Do you think your boyfriend is super handsome?" He. Bulma was open-minded, and at first, she didn't know who Kusuo Hitaki was, and she had traveled through many worlds, so she was not surprised by such things. She started to complain to Bulma. Bulma was also shocked. It seemed that Kusuo Hitaki was reliable, but she agreed like this. Isn't it a bit too fast? But when she thought about it, she had been pestering him all the time, and now he agreed. She was disgusted that he agreed too quickly, wasn't she a jerk? He quickly put away his thoughts and said slowly, "Since you already know, then I won't say anything. If you want to become the most powerful in the world, then I agree. After all, you are so powerful, I will also use the sense of security, okay, that's it." Wukong is now in a big head. Originally, Chi-Chi heard that his friend was coming to this house today, and Chi-Chi was still very happy to prepare lunch, but he did mention that lunch would be practiced with him. As a result, Chi-Chi seemed to jump up and resolutely stopped him from doing so. So now he has no choice but to stay in the corner trembling timidly. "Lunch, did your father tell you something strange? You should study hard and don't fight with your father. It's really not good. You have to be a good student in the future. How can you practice? Goku, you really are. If I hear you ask my lunch to practice again, I will definitely kill you." Goku nodded shrewdly. Now Chi-Chi is not someone he can mess with. But at this time, he heard the call of Hitaki Nanao. Goku, are you here?" Goku said as if he had found a life-saving straw. Chi-Chi, my savior is here, I'm going to go out and take a look. Just when he opened the door, he saw Piccolo's face turned green. Then he saw Hitaki Nanao hugging Bulma. Sun Wukong was stunned. What was going on? Was he cheated on while drinking tea or something? Seeing that Hitaki Kusuo didn't care, Wukong didn't know what to say for a while. Then, Nuo Li Jiao pulled Piccolo and said slowly, "What's going on between the two of them? I really don't know. Why are they hugging each other? Really?" Piccolo was speechless. How could he know about this? They just had a quarrel. They just didn't see each other for a while and then they hugged each other. This kind of thing. A creature like me can't understand this at all. Then he said, "I don't know either."